Her unexpected resemblance to his missing MOM revealed. A millionaire's heart-changing discovery. Jake Thompson couldn't shake the chill that ran down his spine as he watched the sun glint off the polished oak floor of the Maplewood Community Center. It was a perfect day, blue skies, children laughing, but his heart felt heavy. This was the price he paid for success. The vivid memories of his mother, gone for 20 years, haunted him like a ghost at a festival. He could almost hear her laughter, her gentle reminders about kindness and the importance of hard work. But after that day, when he was just a boy, the warmth faded into shadows, and every glowing achievement had come with an emptiness that he couldn't escape. As he busied himself with preparing sandwiches for the community lunch, Jake caught sight of Mia, a waitress balancing plates with the grace of a dancer. The moment their eyes met, a spark ignited his chest, a flicker of something deep and inexplicable. She was everything wonderful, a fierce light in an otherwise mundane world. And then he noticed the uncanny resemblance to his mother. It was like looking at a page from a fading family album, and he was struck breathless. The laughter ringing from her lips was a symphony he had long forgotten, but it filled the void in his heart with an aching familiarity. "Hey there, need a hand?" Jake offered, forcing a smile as he approached. She paused, her eyes bright like summer skies, before nodding. "Just trying to keep up, you know. Busy day, but I love this place. It reminds me of family." Her sincerity swept through him, intertwining with memories that made his chest tight. In painstaking detail, they chatted about hopes, dreams, and the ups and downs of life in their tight-knit town. He learned about her daughter, Lily, and the sacrifices she made to provide for her. Each word was like a balm on his soul, but shadows lurked behind every laugh. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now, let's continue. With every moment spent together, Jake wrestled with his demons. He felt the walls of his carefully constructed world press down as he realized how hard it was to peel back layers of privilege and confront the truth. She deserved more than what fear and social judgments could offer. Just when he resolved to break free from the chains of his insecurities, he found an old photograph in his father's house. There, amidst family smiles and memories, was Mia standing beside his mother, both young and hopeful. His heart raced, confusion swirling like a tornado in his mind. How could this be? Did the very person who embodied his lost past also represent a potential future? Jake stood at the precipice of discovery, two worlds colliding in a storm of questions. Could he bridge the gap between who he was and who he wanted to be? More importantly, could he reach out to Mia in a way that could heal them both? The answer loomed like a cloud over him, heavy with the weight of yesterday as shadows. The sun hung low, casting a golden hue over the community center, but Jake felt the world around him fade. The photograph, crumpled in his hand, felt heavier than it should have. Mia's laughter echoed in his mind, a melody intertwined with memories he thought were long buried. He had to know more, to understand how this stranger could pull at the strings of his heart like a forgotten song. He took a deep breath, steeling himself. His legs moved almost on autopilot as he approached the long table where Mia was serving lunch. She looked up, catching his gaze, and for a moment, the noise of the world melted away. It was just the two of them under the vastness of the center's brightly painted walls. "Hey, Mia," he said, his voice steadier than he felt. "Can we talk for a minute?" "Sure, what is up?" She placed the last of the plates down and brushed her hands together, a hint of curiosity lighting her eyes. Jake hesitated. How could he frame the whirlwind of emotions swirling inside him? "I found something in my dad's. How's a picture?" He paused, meeting her gaze with the intensity of his thoughts. "You were in it. With my mom." Her expression shifted, A flicker of surprise followed by something deeper recognition, perhaps. Your mom? In a picture with me? Yeah, he said, struggling to keep his voice from cracking. You look just like her. It's uncanny. Mia's eyes seemed to darken as she processed his words, an undercurrent of emotions passing between them. I don't know. I mean, I've had people tell me I remind them of someone, but I never thought, doesn't he mean you have to remember me? Just you look like her. I can't shake this feeling it's more than just a coincidence. His heart thudded painfully in his chest. My mom disappeared when I was a kid, and seeing you feels like I don't know a chance to connect with what I lost. Connect? She echoed, her voice barely above a whisper. Maybe this is just the universe's way of what? He interrupted, urgency filling the space between them, of reminding me of what I miss or what I could still find. I need to know. How do you know my mom? Mia's expression shifted, revealing a storm of conflict behind her eyes. Jake, I don't think I can just please, he said, desperation leaking into his tone. Can't you at least give me a chance to understand? It feels like there's something between us, something worth exploring. Silence enveloped them, thick with unspoken words and heavy with secrets. Mia looked down, her fingers nervously tracing the edge of the table. Finally, she raised her eyes, glistening with vulnerability. Maybe it's time I told my story too. The moment settled between them, charged with possibilities. It was a chance not only for answers but for connection, to stitch together the fabric of their destinies sealed by coincidence or fate. Jake felt the weight in his chest lighten slightly, as he waited for her to continue, a flicker of hope igniting in his heart. He wasn't just searching for his past anymore. He was standing on the brink of something new, something that could alter the course of his life forever. What if, Mia began, her voice steadying, what if your mom's story is tied to mine in ways we don't yet understand? Jake held his breath, anticipation swirling within him. Their lives were about to intertwine in ways neither of them could foresee. Would this journey lead them to the truth they both desperately needed? With the promise of answers hanging in the air, he leaned closer, desperate to hear her words. Mia took a deep breath, her eyes sparkling with a mix of fear and determination. All right, she said softly, I'll tell you what I know, but it's complicated. You might not like what I have to say. Jake nodded, hanging on her every word. Each second stretched into eternity as he waited for her to continue. Start wherever you think is best, he urged, feeling the urgency in his voice. Okay. Her gaze drifted down, lost in thought, as if she was piecing together a puzzle. I grew up in this town. My family was never well off, but we were happy. At least I thought we were. As a kid, I had dreams like everyone else. I wanted to be an artist, to leave something beautiful behind. Jay could see a flicker of passion light up Mia's face. But what does this have to do with my mom? Her fingers clenched around the edge of the table as she gathered her thoughts. When I was about 12, my life changed. I found out my mom was keeping horrible secrets. She had a past she never wanted us to know about. I discovered she used to work for someone connected to your family. He felt a jolt in his chest. What do you mean connected? Your mom. Mia exhaled, her voice trembling slightly. They were friends before your mom disappeared. I don't think it was just a casual friendship, though. There was something deeper. Jake struggled to process her words. You mean my mom was friends with your mom? But why was she in the picture with you? Mia swallowed hard. I don't know everything. My mom always said it was dangerous to talk about it. She was terrified of what might happen if we did. One day, she just vanished. They say she ran away to protect us, but I always felt there was more. What do you think happened? Jake pressed, leaning closer, compelled by her story and the connection he felt growing stronger. Mia hesitated. I think your mom might have known something that could endanger us both. When my mom took me to the community center, she thought it was safe. She started to confide in a few other moms there, including yours. A storm brewed within him. So what? My mother got caught in the crossfire of whatever secret your mom kept. I don't know. Mia looked distressed, her hands trembling. I never wanted to dig too deep, but all these years I thought I had to keep the truth buried along with my mom's memory. Jake's heart raced. Here they were, standing at the edge of a chasm filled with secrets and unanswered questions. What if Mia held the key to the mystery of his mother's disappearance? Then maybe we can discover the truth together, he suggested, hope flickering anew. We can take this journey, unravel some things that might be painful but necessary. Mia looked at him, uncertainty warring with a hint of hope in her eyes. But what if we uncover something that we're not ready to face? What if it changes everything? Maybe it will, he conceded, feeling the weight of their shared journey. But isn't it worth the risk? I don't want to run from the past anymore. I want to know what really happened. Just then, a loud scream of laughter pulled them back to the present. Children were playing outside the center, blissfully unaware of the storm brewing inside. It reminded them both of what they stood to lose and fight for. Let us start by visiting my mom's old diary, Mia said, her voice steadying. I think it might have answers. Let us go tomorrow, Jake said, excitement and trepidation mingling inside him. He couldn't quite believe how quickly his life was changing. Would they find the answers they were so desperately seeking? The uncertainty loomed large, but Jake knew one thing for sure. There was no turning back now. With every step forward, they were diving deeper into a mystery that would not only redefine their past, but potentially their futures as well. As they stood together, ready to face the unknown, a thought rushed through Jake's mind. What if uncovering the truth meant facing not only their family's hidden legacies, but their own emerging feelings for one another? Could they trust what lay ahead? The next morning, the sun streamed through Mia's bedroom window, illuminating stacks of old books and papers that seemed to whisper stories of the past. As she woke, her nerves twisted like vines inside her, anticipation mixing with fear. The weight of the day ahead hung over her like a storm cloud. Mia pushed herself out of bed and moved to her desk, where her mother's diary rested, hidden beneath a tattered cloth. She took a deep breath, her fingers shaking as she lifted the cloth. The diary looked worn, its once bright cover faded to a weary brown. But it was more than just a book. It was a connection to a past she barely understood, wrapped tightly in her mother's guarded secrets. Jake was already at the community center when she arrived, pacing nervously by the entrance. His eyes widened when he spotted her, igniting a spark of hope. "Are you ready?" he asked, meeting her gaze with an intensity that made her insides flutter. "Yeah," Mia replied, forcing a smile. "Let us do this." They pushed open the door to the center, the familiar scent of old wood and paint wafting through the air. Each step felt like wading into unknown waters. There was a quiet zone at the back, a small nook filled with mismatched furniture and sun-bleached posters on the walls. It was there her mother had often gathered with friends, sharing laughter in their lives. It felt steeped in memories. Mia settled into a chair, her heart pounding. She placed the diary down between them. "I think we need to start here. If there are any answers, they might be hiding within these pages." Jake nodded, leaning in closely. There was a thread of unspoken trust binding them, a sense of urgency that pushed them forward. With trembling hands, Mia opened the diary, the pages cracking as she flipped through them. The handwriting was elegant, yet the words revealed a tumult of emotions. One page caught her eye. Her mother had written about her friendship with Jake's mom, detailing moments that felt intimate and layered with meaning. "Listen to this," she murmured, reading a passage aloud. "I worry that my decisions are not just affecting me anymore. There are forces at play here that I hardly understand. I feel like I'm holding on to a secret too dangerous to share." Jake's expression tightened. "This is about my mom. Isn't it?" "I think so," Mia whispered, her heart racing. A chill ran down her spine as she read more. She wrote about feeling watched, about not being able to trust everyone around her. "What does that mean?" Jake asked, his voice low and edged. Mia paused, a sinking feeling pooling in her stomach. "I don't know, but it feels like they were entangled in something much larger than we imagined, something that put them in danger." She turned the page, discovering drawings her mother had sketched, pictures of the town, but also a shadowy figure lurking in the background. A knot of dread tightened in Jake's chest as he examined the art. "Who is that?" I don't know, Mia admitted, frustration creeping in her tone. But it looks familiar, doesn't it? Silence hung between them, filled with unspoken questions. The realization was heavy. Could this be the moment when they not only uncovered dark truths about their families, but recognized echoes of their own lives intertwined with those shadows? Jake leaned closer, his breath warming the page. We might not just be digging through the past. What if we're searching for our futures too? Mia looked up, her heart racing. What do you mean? But before he could respond, footsteps echoed from the hallway, drawing their attention. The door creaked open, and an elderly woman stepped into the room, her face betraying a flicker of recognition at the sight of them poring over the diary. Were you looking for something specific? She asked, curiosity lining her voice. Mia and Jake exchanged a glance, the heavy weight of secrets looming once more. Would they be ready to face what might come next? Now, as the walls seemed to close in, Mia felt the urgency for answers growing stronger. Could they unravel the layers of their pasts? Or would the next revelation lead to more perilous truths? Mia felt her heart skip a beat as the elderly woman stepped fully into the room. There was something ethereal about her presence, like she carried pieces of the past in her weathered hands. The woman's gray hair framed her face, and her eyes sparkled with a knowing that unnerved Mia. We're just looking through an old diary, Mia stammered, her voice barely a whisper. It felt like the walls were inching closer, as if waiting to see what this stranger would reveal. The woman moved closer, her gaze settling on the open pages. That diary, it belonged to your mother, didn't it? Mia blinked, caught off guard. Yes. Do you know her? The woman's face softened. I knew her well. We were friends once before things changed. Jake shifted in his seat, his eyes wide. What do you mean? Change how? The woman hesitated, glancing back at the door as if she were afraid of being overheard. Your mother was involved in something significant, something dangerous. It was supposed to be a simple venture for the betterment of the community, but it spiraled out of control. What do you mean dangerous? Mia's voice trembled, each word laden with newfound urgency. There were people who didn't want to see change. Those who would do anything to protect their interests, the woman said, her voice low and filled with warning. Your mother wanted to help, but in doing so, she stirred up past tensions. It leads to secrets people have killed to protect. Mia felt a shiver ripple through her. Questions flooded her mind as fear began to choke her. Did my mother know she was in danger? She must have, the woman replied softly. But she believed in what she was doing. She thought she could make a difference. I admired her for that. Where is she? Jake interjected, urgency fueling his voice. What happened to my mom? The woman sighed heavily. I wish I knew. I lost touch with her. The last I heard, she was trying to uncover something connected to your families. She said something about a figure, a shadow that needed to be faced. Mia's heart raced, her palms clammy against the diary. A shadow like the one in her drawings? The woman's eyes widened. Yes, it's possible the shadow represents a person, a threat. It could be watching you too. Silence befell the room, heavy with dread. The shadows that once felt vague and distant were quickly becoming uncannily real. The woman took a step back, her presence suddenly less intimidating and more haunting. I suggest you be careful, ask the right questions, and watch your backs. Not everyone is to be trusted. What do we do? Mia whispered, feeling the walls of the community center closing in, her dreams of finding peace through the diary now twisted into layers of peril. Find the truth, the woman said, her voice firm. But be prepared for what you might uncover. Secrets are powerful, and they want to remain hidden. Jake took Mia's hand, squeezing it tight. We can handle it, together, he said, determination lighting his eyes. Mia believed him. Yet, as they exchanged glances, the gravity of their situation settled heavily. Was she strong enough to face whatever was lurking within the shadows? With the elderly woman watching them, Mia took a deep breath and turned to face the diary again. They had stumbled upon something far beyond what they had imagined. The quest for truth now felt like stepping into a storm They couldn't escape. Just then, a sudden knock at the door echoed through the room, piercing the tension like a knife. "Who is there?" Jake called out, his voice cutting through the uncertainty. One answered. Mia and Jake exchanged anxious looks, fear pooling in their stomachs. What or who awaited them on the other side? They were standing at the edge of a deep, dark well, and the truth was just beginning to unveil itself. As the tension built, Mia felt poised between hope and fear, every breath a reminder of the dangers ahead. Could they push through? Would their determination shatter the shadows once and for all? Or would this be the moment that changed everything? Mia held her breath, the air thick with dread, as the silence stretched longer than it should. She could hear her heartbeat echoing in her ears, a reminder that time felt suspended. Jake stood tense beside her, his grip on her hand tightening. "Maybe it's just someone passing by," she whispered, trying to dismiss the gnawing anxiety inside. But deep down, she sensed it was something much more. The knock came again, this time louder, more insistent. It sent a jolt through her. "We should check," Jake said, determination creeping into his voice. "We can't just sit here." Mia nodded, though fear coursed through her veins like ice. She had never felt so uncertain in her life. Rising slowly, they walked toward the door, their footsteps echoing in the empty room. The elderly woman had disappeared as quietly as she had arrived, leaving behind an unsettling aura. Jake reached for the doorknob, glancing back at Mia. "Stay behind me," he said, a protective instinct rising in him. With a deep breath, he turned the knob and pulled the door open. Standing there was a man, tall and imposing. He wore a dark coat that seemed to absorb the light around him, and his eyes were sharp, scanning the room as if seeking something. "Who are you?" Jake demanded, stepping forward just a bit. The man's gaze landed on Mia, and for a brief moment, it felt like the world stopped. There was a flicker of recognition in his eyes, a spark that made Mia's stomach twist. She took a step back, unsure of whether to feel wary or curious. "I'm looking for someone," he started, but his voice trailed off as he focused completely on Mia. "Either has something about you. What do you want?" Mia asked, her voice steadier than she felt. "I knew your mother," he said, stepping forward. "I thought I lost her, but here you are." "Lost her?" Mia echoed, her mind racing. "What do you mean? How do you know her?" "I can explain everything," he replied, urgency creeping into his voice. "But we don't have much time. You're in danger." Mia's heart raced. "What kind of danger? Is it because of what's in that diary?" He hesitated, glancing behind him as if he expected someone to emerge from the shadows. "There are people who want to silence the past. They'll do anything to keep what you're trying to uncover hidden." A chill ran down Mia's spine. The stakes had raised drastically. She looked over at Jake, whose expression mirrored her fear and defiance. "Why should we trust you?" Jake asked, his protective instincts flaring. "Because, Mia," the man said, his tone softening, "I have reason to believe your mother may still be alive. And if that's true, then everything you think you know is just the beginning of something far larger." Mia's breath hitched, a spark of hope flaring to life within the storm of confusion. "Alive?" "But the older woman said, she the woman you spoke with? She has part of it too. But she doesn't know everything," he interrupted, taking a cautious step closer. "Listen, I can help you find the answers, bring the truth to light. But you have to trust me." Mia felt her heart race. This was a turning point. The shadows were no longer just lurking. They were moving closer, closing in around her. Could she trust this man with the fragments of her past? "Let us get out of here," Jake urged, glancing toward the door as if he could sense unseen eyes watching. Mia took a deep breath, aligning her resolve. The danger outside felt palpable, but the pull to uncover the truth was even stronger. "Okay," she said, her voice firm. "We'll go with you. But no more secrets, we need to know everything." "Then follow me," the man said, nodding toward the open door. They stepped out into the dim hallway, a sense of foreboding following them into the unknown. As they exited, a shadow flickered in the corner of Mia's eye, and panic surged through her as she sensed that someone wasn't too far behind. The danger was real, and as the door clicked shut behind them, Mia couldn't shake the feeling that this was just the beginning. What awaited them in the darkness of the world outside? Would they uncover the truth, that hidden past that it claimed? Her mother, or would it come with a price too steep to pay? They stepped into the hallway, the dim light flickering overhead. The man led the way, his calm demeanor stark against the rising tension swirling around them. Mia and Jake followed closely behind, their hearts pounding as each step echoed ominously in the silence. "Who are you?" Mia asked again, her voice steady despite the urgency. "You still haven't told us your name." "Call me Luke," he replied, glancing back at her with a troubled expression. "And believe me, we don't have time for formalities." Mia's mind raced, trying to piece together the puzzle of her past, her mother's possible survival, and the threats looming closer. "You knew my mother," she said, the words almost feeling like a chant. "What did she tell you?" "What should I know?" Luke hesitated, as if choosing his words carefully. "Your mother was involved in dangerous things. She learned too much, and people wanted her to stop digging for the truth." Jake's grip on Mia's hand tightened. "What kind of truth? What was she investigating?" Luke opened his mouth to respond, but his attention snapped toward a distant sound of sharp noise that seemed to slice through the stillness. The hurried footsteps echoed down the hallway, getting closer. "Run," he said, urgency flooding his tone. They instinctively obeyed, darting down the corridor as the footsteps grew louder. Mia's heart raced not only from fear, but from the rush of adrenaline. Shadows danced in the corners of her vision, teasing her with the possibility they weren't alone. "Where are we going?" Mia called out, trying to keep up with Luke's long strides. "The service stairs," he replied, his focus unwavering. "No one uses them anymore. It'll be our best chance." They reached a heavy door at the end of the hall. Luke pushed it open, and they plunged inside, the creak of the hinges giving way to a narrow, spiraling staircase. Dark and dusty, it felt like a forgotten world. "Keep moving," Luke urged, ushering them forward, while glancing back as if expecting someone to follow. They descended quickly, taking 2 steps at a time. Mia felt an uneasy mix of fear and anticipation. Each step away from the apartment felt like a step toward uncertain revelations. "Do you think he's telling the truth?" Jake whispered, concern lacing his every word. "About your mother?" "I don't know," Mia admitted, but she couldn't shake the flicker of hope igniting within her. "Part of me wants to believe him." As they reached the bottom, they emerged into an underground garage. The air was stale, and the dim light cast eerie shadows across abandoned vehicles. "We need to find transportation," Luke said, scanning the lot. Something that draw attention. Mia's pulse quickened at the thought of escaping, but her thoughts were consumed by questions. If my mom really is alive, why didn't she come back for me? Why didn't she look for me? Luke paused, his face momentarily shadowed by regret. "There are things she couldn't tell you, things she had to protect you from. But trust me, if you find her, you'll understand." Jake put a protective arm around Mia, bringing her closer. "We need answers, Luke. We can't just run without knowing." Suddenly, the distant sound of tires screeching pierced the silence, causing Mia's stomach to drop. "They're coming," Luke exclaimed, urging them forward once more. Mia dashed toward an unoccupied car, her heart racing. For a moment, she hesitated, thinking of her mother, of what it all meant. Would she really find her? And if she did, would it change everything? The thought sent waves of uncertainty crashing through her mind. She stumbled into the car, feeling the weight of Jake's eyes on her. "Buckle up," Luke commanded, sliding into the driver's seat. Just before he turned the key, Mia heard a faint sound outside, the echo of another voice drifting into the darkness. "Stop!" Mia's heart raced as she turned to see a figure emerging from the shadows, every instinct screaming that this was far from over. What awaited them in the depths of the night? Would this new encounter bring them closer to the truth, or push them further into danger? Luke's eyes widened, and he turned the key in the ignition as the distant figure stepped into the weak glow of the garage lights. The voice had been commanding, firm. It sent chills down Mia's spine. She swallowed hard, instinctively pressing back into Jake's side as fear coursed through her veins. "Please, don't," the figure called again, stepping closer, enough for Mia to make out delicate features and a familiar silhouette. The words felt like a wild gust of wind, knocking the breath from her lungs. "Mia," the woman shouted, her tone a mixture of urgency and desperation. "It's me. It's your mother." "And Mom?" Mia stammered, blinking rapidly as she tried to comprehend what was happening. Her vision blurred with disbelief, and disbelief didn't feel anywhere close to reality. "Get in the car now," Luke commanded, but Mia remained frozen, her heart hammering wildly like a trapped bird. "Mia, trust me. I'm here." The woman's voice cracked slightly, revealing the raw emotion beneath her calm facade. "Is this a trick?" Jake whispered to Mia, his arms still around her. "We need to go. We can't stay here." "No, I can't just leave her," Mia shot back, her mind racing and her heart torn. The years of wondering, of hoping, and the relentless ache of searching flooded her thoughts. "Mom, is it really you?" "Yes. Let's talk, but not out in the open." "Not here," the woman urged, glancing nervously back toward the entrance. "You don't know how long I've waited for this moment. We need to leave now." Luke's hand hovered over the ignition, impatience growing in the stillness. "Mia, come on. We're not safe. We can talk later," he pleaded, looking back toward the darkness, the shadows ominously creeping closer. "Is it really her? Is this for real?" Jake's voice was steady, but Mia could sense the panic nestled just below the surface. "I don't know. But if it is, I can't just turn my back," Mia said, feeling torn between fear and the tantalizing hope of having her mother back. "Mom," she shouted, her voice trembling, overwhelmed by a whirlwind of emotions. "Why did you leave? Why didn't you come for me?" The woman took a deep breath, stepping forward, her green eyes glinting with unshed tears. "I had to protect you. I never wanted to hurt you. I thought it was safer this way." "Safer?" It felt like a slap, the air charged with accusations. "You let me think I was alone." "I know, and I'm so sorry," she said, her voice breaking. "But there's so much to explain. I was involved in things I couldn't tell you about. Dangerous people are after both of us. If we don't hurry, they'll find us." Luke's voice broke through the crescendo of emotions. "Mia, now!" He slammed the car door shut and started the engine, the roar swallowing the tension. "No." Mia felt a surge of defiance, unwilling to let another chance slip away. "I'm not leaving without her." But at that moment, the screeching of tires outside echoed again, closer than before. The fear reflected in Luke's eyes made her stomach flip. "Mia," Jake said softly, desperation coating his words. "We can't stay here. We can come back for her, but we need to be safe first." Torn between the past and the present, Mia's heart ached. She turned to face her mother, whose eyes glimmered with a mix of fear and longing. "Please, come with us," the woman pleaded, reaching out a hand. "I can explain everything." "It's not what you think, Mia. Listen to him." The urgency in Jake's voice snapped her back into the moment. "Mom," she whispered, longing to reach out, to feel that connection, to reconcile years of pain in one gesture. But danger loomed, and time was slipping. At that moment, the shadows coalesced into figures, rushing forward like waves. Mia felt the pull of urgency, the weight of decisions crashing down. She hesitated for a heartbeat, a silent question lingering in the air. Was she about to lose everything again? "Mia!" Luke shouted, feet pounding against the garage floor as he moved toward her, ready to pull her into the car. "Make your choice," Jake whispered, fear setting his face into resolute determination. Should she choose to grasp on her mother, or run with the chance of a new beginning? The engine's roar seemed to intensify, as did the call of her past. Next moment, a gunshot rang out through the garage. Mia felt the sharp sound of the gunshot slice through the air, freezing her in place, every heartbeat echoing in her ears. Her mother's eyes widened in alarm, pulling Mia back into a world she thought she had abandoned. "Get down!" Luke shouted, instincts kicking in. He dove to the ground, pulling Jake with him, frantic to shield Mia from the threat that loomed close. But the command felt like a distant echo, drowned by the swirling chaos in her mind. "Mia, now. We have to move," Jake insisted, urgency flooding his voice as he glanced toward the entrance, anxiety etched deep on his face. Mia stood paralyzed, a whirlwind of memories crashing against her consciousness. The warmth of her mother's embrace, the soft melodies of lullabies from distant nights, all mixed with years of hurt. In this fragmented reality, her mother was asking her to trust, to go with her into the unknown, but the fear of losing everything held her captive. The sound of footsteps splintered through the tension, much louder than the gunshot, and the shadows crept closer. They were here. The danger was real. Mia's stomach twisted at the thought that this reunion could slip away in the blink of an eye. "Mia," her mother's voice grew more strained, pulling Mia back, grounding her. "Please, I need you to believe me." Taking a breath, Mia's gaze shifted from her mother to the dark figures that loomed in the entrance. Their silhouettes were sharp against the dim light, their intentions cloaked in malevolence. She felt the weight of expectation suffocating her. In that moment, something flickered inside her. The longing for connection, for family, ignited a pull towards the woman who brought her into this world. "You left me," she exclaimed, her voice breaking. "You left me alone. I thought I was protecting you. Please, just trust me," her mother implored, desperation clawing at her words. Mia's heart surged, battling against the familiar ache of abandonment. She glanced at Jake, whose steady resolve reminded her of their shared journey. They had faced danger together, stood strong against the world for each other. "I can't," Mia's voice faltered. Another shot rang out, but this time it came from the figures. "Get to the car," Luke yelled again, the car engine revving loudly in the background as it beckoned her to safety. "Mom, please. I don't want to lose you again," she cried, feeling tears sting her eyes. "This is your chance," her mother urged through trembling lips. "But only if you come with me now." Every second felt like a lifetime, with choices weighing down on her so heavily it was hard to breathe. The figures were advancing, and behind them, the darkness clawed closer. As panic surged, Mia made a split-second decision. "I'll go with you," she shouted, heart pounding painfully in her chest. There was a sense of reckless hope in her voice, and as she stepped toward her mother, she noticed the shadows shifting behind her. "Mia, no," Jake called out, reaching for her, but she had already crossed into unknown territory, bridging the gap between past pain and potential reconciliation. "Come on," her mother beckoned, moving toward the exit, but the shadows lunged forward, breaking into a sprint toward them, filling the air with an intensity that surged like a tide. "Run," Luke shouted, still on the ground, eyes wide in fear. Mia's heart raced as she grabbed her mother's hand, and together they turned to flee. Yet as they ran, a thought pierced through the whirlwind. Could she trust this woman, or was it too late for both of them? Another gunshot echoed, and Mia stumbled, glancing back as she felt a burning question drive deep into her soul. What if the moment she awaited all her life led to something darker than she ever imagined? With adrenaline coursing through her veins, she squeezed her mother's hand tighter, but the shadows were gaining on them. Mia's heart thundered as she dashed through the garage, her mother's hand clasped tightly in hers. Every step forward felt like a leap into a vast unknown, and the echoes of gunshots rang starkly in her ears. Determination surged through her. She was not ready to lose the chance of finally being with her mother again. "Mia, let us go," Luke urged insistently, his voice rising above the chaos. They raced toward the exit, the door looming ahead like a beacon in the dark. Mia's thoughts swirled. Was this truly her mother? Could she trust this woman who had been absent for so long? Suddenly, they burst outside into the night air. The world was alive with sound, cries fading behind them and the distant hum of cars. Mia looked around, her breath catching as she spotted a car idling nearby. "Over there," she shouted, veering toward it, clutching her mother's hand. But before they could reach the vehicle, dark figures emerged from the shadows, blocking their path with menacing intent. "Stop!" one of them shouted, the authority in his voice slicing through the night. "Get in! Now!" Luke shouted, panic igniting his voice. "Mia, move!" Mia felt the weight of indecision batter against her heart. Her instincts screamed to run, to protect this newfound connection with her mother, yet she felt pinned, pressed by shadows that felt too familiar. "Mom, who are they?" she shouted, trying to drown her fear with urgency. "What is going on? I'll explain everything later. Just trust me," her mother replied, glancing back at the advancing figures. The urgency of the moment broke through the haze in Mia's mind as she quickly pulled her mother toward Luke. Jake was already sliding into the car's front seat, his expression a mix of fear and resolve. "Mia," he called, eyes wide, ready to help as she opened the back door. "Come on, now." As they all piled in, her mother slipped into the back seat next to Mia, their bodies brushing against each other, the warmth of skin pulling on long-buried memories. Luke revved the engine, and before anyone could catch their breath, they took off, tires screeching against the pavement. Mia's heart raced, not just from the adrenaline, but from the overwhelming flood of emotions. She turned to her mother. "You're really here?" Relief washed over her like a wave. "But why didn't you come back for me?" Mia watched as the light from street lamps flickered across her mother's face, revealing the worry etched into her features. "I thought it was for the best. You would have been in danger if I returned. I had to protect me?" Mia interrupted, her voice shaking with both frustration and hope. "You left me alone. I spent years wondering, wishing I know. I can't undo the past," her mother replied, tears glistening in her eyes. "But I'm here now. We can face it together." With every word, Mia felt the barriers of pain begin to crumble. The echoes of childhood filled the gaps. The songs, the laughter, and the warmth were weaving back into her reality, softening the sharp edges of her heart. Luke navigated through the twisting roads, trying to evade the shadows that seemed to coil back into the night, following relentlessly. "What did you get yourself mixed up in?" he demanded, glancing briefly at Mia's mother. "We don't have all night." "A mission for justice," her mother replied, her voice steady even in the chaos. "I was uncovering secrets buried by fear, by those who would do anything to keep their interests protected. When I realized the extent of danger, I made the hardest decision to put distance between us." "I don't understand," Mia breathed, the memories of warmth contending with the reality of darkness. "You were doing good?" "Yes," her mother said with conviction, vulnerability shining in her eyes. "Your safety was always my priority, but I now realize I can't hide from the past anymore. It's time for the truth." Mia glanced at Jake, who sat resolutely in the front seat, his jaw set with determination, a pillar of strength. "Can we really face this together?" she asked him, seeking assurance. He met her gaze, the warmth of his hand brushing against hers, and a determined smile crossed his face. "Together," he promised, grit underlying his words. "We've had each other's backs this whole time. We'll find a way." A newfound sense of purpose ignited within Mia. The shadows looming over her family didn't stand a chance against the resolve growing inside her heart. As Luke sped down the empty roads, Mia looked back at her mother, who was watching her intently. "Whatever we face, I want to know everything," Mia said, the urgency of understanding pressing on her. "I need to know who we're up against." "Then let us get to a safe place," her mother replied with determination. "We'll hash it all out there, I promise." The car raced forward, a burst of energy cutting through the shadows behind them, and for the first time in years, Mia felt something akin to hope bubbling within her. They were not just fleeing danger. They were charging toward a truth that could finally set them all free. This was not merely a reunion. It was a reckoning. The wind whipped through their hair as they sped toward the dawning light, leaving the darkness behind. For the first time in a long while, Mia allowed herself to dream of a future intertwined with the past, filled with possibilities that shimmered like stars against the night. But one thing was clear: it was time to face the shadows, uncover the truth, and reclaim their lives together. No more hiding, no more forsaking. Together, they would bring light to the darkness that had loomed for far too long. Mia squeezed her mother's hand, feeling the connection ignite between them. They were facing not only their past, but a newfound future together. And as they sped into the first rays of dawn, a spark flared within Mia's heart, whispering promises of new beginnings and the strength that came from unity. This was their moment. Don't miss out on more exclusive stories like this. You need to subscribe now to stay updated. This is the moment to show your support. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and help us grow. Comment your thoughts and feelings about this ending. We want to hear from you. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to witness this inspiring transformation.